Ragaroga here. Ranga there. Purring. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. Yeah, there's Ranga. She's really fidgety, so she probably won't stay in my lap. Anyhow, hi. Howdy meeps. You're you, and you're watching this. Thank you. And we're going to dive back into the tomb of the Necro Lord. If you remember, or if you haven't watched, whatever, the previous foray into the tomb resulted in the halfling ranger diving headlong into a Sutured Beast or a suture, whatever the hell, and it got chopped to bits. So we're going to try again, slightly differently this time. Let's just dive in really quickly. I need to create a new character, right? So let's dive into the chapbook. This is the core rule book. We did our world building and created the quest giver and first quest from the Game Master's Guide in the original first episode. We're going to continue with that, but we're going to do a new character. So let's scroll quickly down to character creation. Well, here, character creation, there's basically 5 steps. Determine 4 stat scores, choose the character class, choose race, determining your starting health and willpower, which are calculated stats, and then you roll for gold and purchase whatever items you want. Now, I'm going to min-max this because I have a theory that the only thing I need to succeed is a character with proficiency in strength and maxed out strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ignore choosing a character class and character race. Let's scroll down for a second. The character stats, there's strength, dexterity, wits, and charisma. During character creation, you're granted 7 points to assign between 4 stats as you see fit. No stat can have a score lower than 1 or higher than 4 during this step, but these may be altered later on. Now, when you choose a race in this game, you just add 1 to one of your stats. This was our ranger, and our ranger had 2, 4, 1, 1 with proficiency and dexterity. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just go ahead and do strength, dexterity, wisdom, charisma, and we're going to go 5, 1, 1, and proficiency and strength. Now, proficiency means I get to roll 2 dice, and you'll notice that I actually have 5 here. That's because I'm adding 1 from the race. And it works out that if you go with 5 in one, you get 1 in all the others. It's 8 points to distribute. So you can't. There's really no reason to say no stat can have a score higher than 4, because you can't do that if you only have 7 points and you have no score less than 1. But adding the 1 from the race, it makes 8 points total, and so you can have 1 stat in 5 if you max it, but that leaves 1 in all the other ones. So all you need to say is that no stat can have a score lower than 1, period. But they, may be altered later on, and then just make whatever narrative choice about race you want, and just say strength is, or just add your points wherever you want, and then narratively describe it. And then as far as class goes, the class sort of says what they're proficient in. I'm going to say sort of narratively I'm a fighter and do proficiency in strength, but it's really just narrate it however you want. Pick whatever. Come on, get in my lap. No, come here. Yeah, I know. Jeez. Yeah, anyhow. So race and class are really just narrate them however you want. Give yourself 8 points, distribute them however you want, and then give yourself proficiency in one of your stats, and then narratively describe why that is. So here, I could go with like a giant cockroach who is super able to scuttle, and so has proficiency in dexterity. What I'm going to do is let's call this an orc fighter who is not dexterous, doesn't have a lot of wits, and is not charismatic at all, but is super, super strong. So we're going to max out strength at 5 with proficiency, and I suspect that that'll be a winning combo, and it may be easy mode. We'll find out. I don't know. So going back to the crafting your own class, you can make it. So here's the races. Basically, just they add 1 to one of the stats. So there's 4 canonical in the rule races, ancestries. Just pick whatever narrative thing you want. Be a cockroach, be an octopus. Who cares? Just do whatever you want. Give yourself 8 points. Spread them however you want. Crafting your own races. Okay, so we're going to calculate our health and willpower. So health is strength plus dexterity. So that's 6. So we're going to have a total of 26 health. And willpower is wits and charisma plus 20. So that's 22. Then the next thing we do is we roll 2d6. Okay, our orc, let's call him Nanok. Conan backwards? I don't know. Anyhow, Orc Fighter. We'll just go with Orc Fighter because these guys are disposable. Is a poor boy from a poor family and only has 2 gold. So let's see. I don't know what we can buy. I can buy a dagger. I can buy a short sword. I may go with the short sword. Punching dagger? I mean, it's the same. Short sword and punching dagger. So I have a 1d3 weapon, and that's really the best I can do. All of the 2 gold are 1d3. It seems like, I mean, it seems like you could, for 1 gold you get 1, for 2 gold you get 1d3, for 3 gold you get 1d3 plus 1, for 4 gold you get 1d6, for 5 gold you get 1d6 plus 1. You know, just make it whatever you want. So I'm going to go with... we'll call it a punching dagger, and we're going to only have 1 weapon. So there's our melee weapon, and so that's it. That's all we've got. We've got nothing else. So we won't be able to get our stats up or do any healing as we're entering this. Okay, so that's it. So armor and items, I have no gold left to get anything. So we're just going to go with the melee weapon. And so let's zip on down now to Tomb of the Necro Lord. Okay, so our orc wanders into this town. And, well, I mean, our world, we generated our world. It's a frozen northern tundra with a barbaric civilization living under a nasty dictatorship with a growing population. Magic abounds everywhere. Everyone uses it. But the mood, everyone is really hungry for change, for something. You know what this sounds like? I realized after the previous episode, this is like Wicked. This is like Oz. The Land of Oz in the world of Maguire's Wicked. You know, it's like there's magic, pervasive magic everywhere, which I think manifests because it's not offensive, defensive magic. It's like it's pervasive magic. So what this is this is prestidigitation and thaumaturgy. So basically, in this world, characters can use magic for any narrative effect that they really, any reasonable narrative effect that they want as part of their daily lives. Like, creating a cool breeze, like an air conditioner, or, cooking food. They can use a magical fire to do that sort of stuff. So all of those little things are taken care of by this pervasive magic. It's not offensive. It doesn't give people extra defenses or big showy fireballs and stuff like that. But it's pervasive and everyone's got it. So we'll try to remember, like lighting a torch. You don't need to do that because you can just, you can have a ball of light that follows you around because it's a flashlight. You know what I mean? Communication at a distance, like anything that technology would do in this day and age that's not like causing damage or absorbing damage, that sort of stuff. Anything that's a convenience, it has some sort of magical equivalence. There's communication across distances, all that kind of stuff. And so the next thing is, in this world, there's a town with a manor house and where a wise woman has a bunch of tasks for adventurers. Now, it turns out that when our orcish fighter arrives into town, they find out that the wise woman from the manor house has been kidnapped. Word has gotten out, so arriving in the tavern keeper's daughter, whatever, knows about this rumor and explains it to the orc and says, yeah, there's a reward. So, you don't even bother going to the manor house. The wise woman isn't there. You need to go to this place where the Necro Lord is, the tomb. And those rumors are also part of this thing. So there's been a lot of killings in this little local village, and the burgomaster seems totally stumped by what's going on. But there's body parts missing from the people that have been slayed. And on top of that, the local graveyard has been disturbed and bodies stolen. And there's rumors of a villainous Necro Lord that has taken up residence in one of the tombs. And so they really would like us to go and get them, go find that and kill them. Except really what it is like, go rescue our wise woman. That there have been other adventurers that have come. At least one little tiny kid, the halfling, a ranger, came in and tried to go, but never came back. So we have no idea what happened to that creature, that person. Now we know. What happened was that the halfling got into the first room, ran into a Sutured Beast from the entrance, went into a crumbling crypt, and ran into a Sutured Beast. So there's a corpse of a halfling in this room. So our orc is going to troop off and enter the place, and is going to hear noises coming from this other room, and is like, okay, let's go get him. Mongo wants to rescue wise woman, and goes into this crumbling crypt. Now, a crumbling crypt is fragile and falling apart, and getting hit by a stone would be dangerous. Make a wits roll or take 1d3 damage. So we're going to go ahead and roll wits against our ridiculously dumb orc creature character. Right? So we need to get a 1. And we got a 1. Look at that. Wow, okay. All right. Apparently having maxed out strength makes everything work out. Nothing bad ever happens to me. Okay, so our orc enters here and sees a Sutured Beast, this beast with parts that have been assembled together, sewn together, sort of playing around with a rag doll. And when we enter, it looks up and roars, and combat begins. So let's go ahead and really quickly, I'm going to remind everybody how combat goes. Combat procedure. Okay, so the combat procedure, we check for bravery, and then we do ranged combat, melee combat, and then we have the option to flee, and then we start over. To remind ourselves, bravery is a charisma check, and if we pass, we gain 1 willpower. If we fail, we lose will according to the Sutured Beast's damage. So where's my Sutured Beast? There's my Sutured Beast. So the willpower damage is 1d6 on the Sutured Beast. Okay, so let's roll our charisma check. We need to get a 1. We got a 2, so we failed. So we roll 1d6 to see our willpower damage. And we lost 6 full... Well, actually, let me just... I'm just going to write it on here. I should have like a countdown timer or whatever. So we're going to lose 6. So that's going to take us to 16. No, wait. 18. So the next thing that we do is we do the ranged combat. I don't have a ranged weapon. Can I pick up a rock? Can I look around and see if there's a rock? What are items? Rod sling. I mean, why can't I pick up a rock? Okay, so I mean, there's no rock. I think you totally could. I think you could pick up a rock. It says throwing star up there, so it must do less damage than a throwing star, one would assume. I mean, the rock sling would sling it fast, would sling a rock, but we don't have that yet. Wink, wink. Yeah, so I guess I can't do that. We'll just go ahead and say that the ranged combat is not going to happen for this guy until he has a ranged weapon. Now we're going to do ranged combat. If we're able, make a ranged attack against the monsters. Now, no, we can't. We're going to do melee. We must make a melee attack. So melee is going to be strength. So range would be dexterity, and melee combat is strength. So we're going to roll 2 because I'm proficient in strength, and we're trying to get a 5, which means we can only fail on a 6. So the only way I fail this is if I get 2 6s. So I got 2 3s, so I do 1d3 damage. So I do 1 damage to the Sutured Beast. Sutured Beast 15 and is at 12 now because the halfling actually did some damage. Okay, and then we go back up to, well, I can decide if I want to flee. If I want to flee, it requires a wits roll or a charisma roll or something like that. And if you fail it, then you get attacked. So it's not so great. We really need to just defeat the monster is what's going on. So let's go ahead and go back up to the top. We're going to do bravery. And so we're going to do a charisma check, and we need to get a 1. And that was a 4. So we're going to do 1d6 damage. So that's 3 damage to our willpower. Yeah, let's do 15. I was trying to decide if I was going to erase it or what, but I don't want the little erase marks everywhere. Okay, and so that is that. We're going to do melee attack. I'm going to rush up with my punching dagger, and that's a success. And so we're going to do 1d3 damage, and that's actually 3 damage. So we're going to take the Sutured Beast down to 9. And now we're back up to bravery. So we're going to roll to see if we're brave. And we are. We are brave. And then no ranged attack, and then a melee attack against strength. And so we got a 2, and that means we are successful. And we do 2. And we decide if we're going to flee. We don't. We do bravery. We fail bravery. 1d6 will, and a full 6 off of that. So we're down to 9 willpower. When willpower gets to 0, there's a -1 on every roll. So it would behoove us to exit if it gets to that point. Oh, and actually, hold on. I missed something, and that was that when we were at bravery and we got that 1, if you pass, gain 1 willpower. So we should have gained 1. So our willpower is actually at 10, not 9. So that was my bad. Where am I? What am I doing? I totally lost track of what I'm doing. I'm assuming that I just rolled on willpower and failed that. And so now we're going to do ranged, and then we're going to do melee. Melee attack, let's roll against a 5. Luckily, I have proficiency, so it's a 4. That's a success. And then I'm going to roll damage. 1d3 is actually 3 damage. So we're down to 4 on the Sutured Beast. We're doing really great. Now we're going to roll our bravery check. We fail that and take a full 6. So we're down to 4 willpower. No ranged attack, but we're going to do strength-based melee attack with our punching dagger. And we do a brutal hit, automatic success. And look at that, it's a 6 and a 1. This is an automatic success. This is always a failure. So good that I had that proficiency in there. And so then we do 1d3. And we do 2 damage, takes the Sutured Beast down to 2, and then we do our bravery check, and we fail that, and we take 3. Ooh, we're down to 1 willpower, and then no ranged, and we're going to do our strength-based melee attack, punching with our punching dagger, and an absolute success, and we're going to do only 1 damage. Sutured Beast hangs on with a weird glow in their eye. They, we beat them down, and it looks like they're done, but then they just get a look in their face, this manufactured face with sutures all across it, and it just looks like it's dead, but then it continues to move. It's that thing where maybe we even were like, and stay down, and then turn to look around the room, and then it sort of gets up behind us. So let's take our bravery check when we realize it's behind us. We almost make it. We almost make that check, but we don't. And so we're actually going to lose 3. Now let's do a really quickly. If your will ever reaches 0, all the rolls take a +1 modifier to the die result. Even if you have 0 will, you will always make the bravery check to see if you earn will back. So I don't think it ever goes past 0. It doesn't clarify that exactly. I'm writing this over here, so I've got 0 willpower. I'm going to assume that it stays at 0, like it never goes below that. So we're going to skip ranged, then we're going to do melee attack, and it's possible that we fail, but really unlikely. So we could have failed, but we did not, and we roll 1 die of punching damage. We sense we see the shadow of this creature coming up behind us, projected on the wall of Plato's cave, and we realize it's behind us, and we turn around and just go smack right between the eyes, and we do only 1 damage. We do exactly the amount of damage needed to take the Sutured Beast down to 0, and then it just sort of stands there stunned, and then there's this squelching noise as it slides off of our punching dagger, and then it falls and hits the ground with a juicy crunch, thump. And so what happens next is that we get to just sort of take a look around this room. We're slipping and sliding on all the blood, the Sutured Beast's blood, our blood. No, actually, we didn't take any damage at all. So that's what I'm saying. We didn't take any physical damage at all. But we're slipping and sliding on halfling blood and Sutured Beast blood. And so we see this doll that the Sutured Beast was playing with, and we realize it used to be something that was alive. This must be that kid that they talked about in the tavern. And so we're going to grab it, and we're sort of looking at it, and it's got a little tiny, because it's a halfling, right? It's like a knife that we would use at the dinner table, this short sword, which I suppose for the halfling would be like a long sword, but we're like this ginormous orc, right? And then there's this little patch of fabric with 2 like little strings, and our orc is like, what is this thing? An eye patch? A thong? A hamster's hammock? An Amazon's bikini bra? What is this thing? Like, what, we're swinging it around, and maybe it still has a rock in it, right? From when the halfling was using it. And we're swinging it around, and the rock like flies and like plinks against our chest and then drops to the ground. And we're like, oh, and a little light bulb goes on in our head. And so we realize, oh, this is a ranged weapon. And so we grab that and pocket it and and we find like a little container of rocks, whatever, right? And so we take those and we grab this halfling. And now the rules for this say at any point you can just sort of pack up and get the heck out. So we're going to go ahead and just head on out of this place and back to the tavern. We're going to just sort of get ourselves the heck out of here. I'm going to think about this for next time, the next time we go in. And I think I may try and do the halfling as a companion and sort of resurrect them and then do them as a companion. And so then I'll have 2 characters. I'm going to have to decide whether I'm going to do that or not. But that might be fun. But for the moment, we've stolen the halfling's sling. And so we have a ranged weapon. And there was nothing else on the halfling corpse. Oh, actually, hold on. Sorry. Oh, man, we forgot something. We're going to do a treasure roll. So after you've cleared a room of all monsters, roll 1d6, right? Okay, so we're going to roll 1d6. This is the first, I forgot. This is the first time this has happened because this is the first room I've ever cleared. So oh, wow, we roll a 6. So what that means is we roll on the items chart. So here's the PDF, and it says, if you roll a 6, roll on the items chart in the section on armor and items. Each item is assigned a number. If you roll that number, find that item. If you roll a 1 on the item chart, you find nothing. So we're going to actually go to the item chart. And so you'll see on the items, the bread crust is 2, ale is 3, potion 4, holy water 5, miracle is 6. So let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. We got 5. So we got holy water. All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and mark down. We find holy water, and that gives us 1d6 willpower. We could take that and then go to another room. But I'm gonna stick with what I said. We're gonna take the halfling and get our keisters out. Maybe the tavern will offer a reward for this kid. Like, this kid must be somebody's kid, right? Even though we didn't rescue the wise woman yet, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna head in to the tavern and see if we can get some cash for this halfling. For this Raggedy Andy doll that we found, and see what happens. Maybe we can sell the, and if not, then we can sell the short sword for something, right? And get some better equipment. So we're gonna do that and then head in next time. So thanks for watching. That was fun. That was the first monster killed, the first room cleared, and our second character. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.